in the Kappa Nu Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Today we celebrate the life of Dr. King. It was not in his birth, nor was it in his death that we are all here. It is in his life that we rejoice. Dr. King's life did not end in 1968 upon his death. It continues in the hearts of each of us. He graced us with dedication, vision, and sacrifice. Today is the 29th anniversary of the Kappa Nu Lambda chapter MLK Breakfast. It is our hope that this gathering is a springboard for service in our community. Today, we honor the dreams of Dr. King, and Dr. King had one special ingredient that could solve all human problems, and that is love.
When we see wrongdoings everywhere, help us, Lord, to remember in the words of Dr. King that the time is always right to do what is right. Thank you, Lord, for the love you have shared with us through Christ, who sent you as our Savior. The love that ruled even when hate and evil seems to be in power. No one can bear claim to you on an exclusive basis because you made us all, and we are all our Father's children. We know that we must do our Master's will if we would claim to Christ as we were taught to do. Help us, O Lord, to give the right answers so that we would live up to the dream that Dr. King had for us. We acknowledge that while Dr. King's dream is worthy and worthwhile, we must all have a dream, and we must make those dreams come true. We know, God, that as Dr. King said, injustice anywhere in the United States is a treat to justice everywhere. Lord, I ask your blessings upon the brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha as they continue to serve as leaders in the community, walking in the light of the Lord. Let them be a beacon of light that others may follow and walk with the Lord, hand in hand with each other to overcome the wrongs of an unconscious and uncaring society. Now, Father, we ask that you bless the food that has been prepared for us this day. As we partake of the food, we ask that it will give us strength and energy for our bodies to yield service to do your work and your will. May the things we do here today be pleasing in your sight, and may we all gain knowledge and wisdom as we try to make dreams come true for a day on and not a day off. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Once Rustin was formally in place, he and his staff had 8 weeks to pull off one of the biggest political demonstrations in American history.
Good morning again. One time for the Holy Ghost, good morning. I am Derek Chapman, member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, the Kappa Nu Lambda chapter. I would like to take a few minutes while you're partaking of the breakfast to introduce you to one of our local and national partners, Big Brother, Big Sisters. In the year of 1990, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated and Big Brother, Big Sisters implemented a partnership to assist each other in reaching their goals of working toward the positive development of African American youth and empowering their families and communities. This focus on this partnership is to increase the number of children exposed to positive African American adult role models, encourage perceptions of both organizations in the African American community, and increase minority representation on local Big Brothers, Big Sisters Board of Directors, in which I am currently a member in our Shoals area. Behind me is Gina Mashburn, a lifelong resident of the Shoals area. She has been married to her husband, Tim Mashburn, for 30 years and has 2 sons. Gina serves as the Governor's Task Force on Child Abuse and Neglect Prevention and is a member of the Children's Policy Council in 3 counties. She serves on the Quality Assurance Team for Carbon County DHR and just rolled off as the State Association President of Big Brothers Big Sisters of Alabama, graduating from Sheffield High School and the University of North Alabama. She has worked with Big Brothers Big Sisters program in various roles since 1989. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to some, to present to others, Ms. Gina Mashburn.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you so much. It's always an honor to be here on this auspicious morning on behalf, actually, of the littles in our program at Big Brothers Big Sisters. Last year, we rebranded our logo. We have all new colors and a new logo and a new mission and a new vision. Our new vision is that all youth will achieve their full potential. And our new mission is to create and support one-to-one mentoring relationships that ignite the power and promise of youth. So we, like other organizations like Alpha Phi Alpha, know how important it is to support our youth and to provide somebody, a role model for them, to help them to reach their full potential and to challenge them in their lives. One thing, even though we had all those changes, one thing that has not changed is what we do. We would invite y'all to be a part of that. That's what I always want to encourage this audience to do when I come to this breakfast, because we have so many children in our community that just need a positive role model in their lives. And I see so many out here in this audience that if you could step up and be that for a child, it would just be life-changing. And regarding unity today, I'd like to quote the Bible. Luke 11:17 says that any kingdom divided against itself will be ruined, and a house divided will fall. And that is the same thing for our community. We have to unite to raise our youth. And in his letter from the Birmingham jail, Dr. King said, he wrote this: when you are forever fighting a degenerating sense of nobodiness, then you will understand why we find it so difficult to wait. And when I hear this quote, I think about the littles in our program who are still waiting for that one special friend. So I would like to show you a little clip of what that feels like. Won't you help us end the wait? Thank you.
Another round of applause. God. Good morning. My name is Jimmy Shaw. I have the privilege this morning of introducing our youth speaker. One of Dr. King's later sermons, he talked about Rip Van Winkle, how Rip went to sleep one day and King was on the throne, and when he woke up again, there was a president. Somehow he had slept through the revolution. When I think about this morning's youth speaker, I can remember Dr. Shepard Point making a post on Facebook about taking them places and making their favorite flavor Kool-Aid, and they were little kids. And then I hear Dr. Shepard call me a few weeks ago and ask me to introduce the speaker. I'm shocked because I don't realize that she has gotten that old. My point is that time passes us by very quickly. And this young lady has grown into a graceful and intelligent young lady. So I'm glad to introduce this morning Ms. Lyric Shepard as our youth speaker this morning. Now, I know you can read, but I'm going to read it to you anyway because I think that it's great to celebrate our young people. Lyric Shepard is a 14-year-old daughter of Dr. Roger Shepard and Jessica Freeman of Florence, Alabama. She's a freshman student attending Florence Freshman Center. Lyric is an active member of the Florence High School track team and also serves as a JV cheerleader. She is also a member of FBLA Student Council, and she is a member of the Chick-fil-A Leadership Academy. She is an all-A honor roll student. Lyric's future interest involves pursuing a degree and career in the field of nursing and healthcare. Currently, Lyric's main focus is academics and being the best student that she can be. I bring to you this morning our youth speaker, Ms. Lyric Shepard.
Good morning. Today I've been given the amazing opportunity to come up and speak to you all about a man by the name of Martin Luther King Jr. He wasn't just any average man, but a man that had a big impact on the lives of those around him and continues to impact the lives of those today. I wasn't alive during his lifetime, so I don't know every specific thing that he did, only what I've been told, read, or seen. But I do know that thanks to him, I've been given many opportunities, such as the opportunity of being able to get a good education and be treated equally to those around me, meaning without being treated differently, looked at differently, and having the same opportunities as any other student has. I'm also able to look at and choose any college of my choice and have to meet the same requirements as any other student would have to meet, which leads to being able to go into any career I aspire to go into in the future. It is because of him that I am raised by two professional African-American educators, my mother, a retired teacher, and my father, a high school principal. They have both been blessed to attend colleges that gave them the proper knowledge needed to fulfill those job positions. These opportunities wouldn't have existed if not for Martin Luther King Jr. It is also because of him that the Voting Rights Act of 1965 was passed, meaning that we as African Americans now have a political say and the right to vote for whoever we think is best to lead in our city, state, and country. Because of him, we as people can now fellowship together no matter the gender, race, skin color, age, etc. Because of him, we as people are now seen as equally and not judged by the color of our skin. All of these great things wouldn't have happened if not for Martin Luther King Jr., a man who became a leader and led not just a movement but a national movement at just the age of 26. A man who had a dream and lived out that dream, not caring about what negative people had to say about him. This inspires me because not only did he lead a national movement and make all these improvements on society, but he did this at just the age of 26. This goes to show that anyone can be a leader, no matter how young or old, no matter what race, no matter what gender. It just starts with a vision or even a dream. I would again like to thank Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated for giving me the opportunity to be this year's youth speaker. Thank you.
Excellent job, Ms. Shepard. Godspeed on your continued journey. Good morning. My name is Jeremy Casey, and I stand before you today to introduce to you the speaker of the hour, Mr. John Willie Carter, Jr. Mr. Carter was born in the small rural town of Beaumont, Mississippi. He learned the values of faith, family, and community His leadership and service began in elementary and high school as he followed in each phase. In July of 2011, he married his high school sweetheart, Patricia Shantia Myers Carter. Their 8-year union has yielded much joy, which includes 6-year-old daughter, Peyton Simone Carter, and 2-year-old son, Josiah Winton Carter. He is the son of Pastor John and Arcelia Carter Sr. His parents and siblings have helped support his goals and mission and have been instrumental in becoming the person he is today. His education began in South Mississippi at Beaumont Elementary. He completed high school at Perry Central High School in New Augusta, Mississippi. He attended HBCU, Mississippi Valley State University, where he majored in history and social science education. After obtaining his bachelor's degree, he completed a Master's of Education, Curriculum, and Instruction from Belhaven University. He is currently working on his doctorate in educational leadership at Arkansas State University and will be a candidate for graduation in the spring of 2021. He currently serves as pastor of Pleasant Hill Baptist Church in Hernando, Mississippi. He has served in this assignment for the past 6 years. During this time, he was carrying out the vision of work, worship, and word. The Pleasant Hill Church has a place for all members of the community and beyond, and serves the spirit of love through meaningful work, sincere worship, and a life-changing word. Through the ministry, they have many efforts that have blessed the community, such as Meet the Need, My Money, Boys to Men. Meet the Need is a food and clothing bank open to serve those in the community. My Money is a free tax and financial planning service offered to families during the spring months that focuses on keeping all of the family's tax dollars in their pockets for their use. And Boys to Men aims to educate, motivate African American boys in living a fruitful life in today's challenging political, economic, and social climate. He also yearly hosts a Boys to Men conference that touches the hearts and lives of nearly 50 black young men to be a greater contribution to their family, school, and community. As an initiative of the Pi Sigma Lambda chapter of Alpha Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, seated in Oxford, Mississippi, the light of Alpha lives deep. He served as Education Committee Chair and President of the Pi Sigma Lambda chapter of Alpha Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. He is now a member of the Sigma Iota Lambda chapter of Alpha Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, seated in South Haven, Mississippi, having served as Membership and Intake Director and now serving as the Committee Chairperson on Constitution and Bylaws and Executive Board Member. In the Mississippi Alpha Network, he served as District Chaplain and currently serves as the Area 2 Chief Dean. After the illustrious Alpha Ensemble, the next voice you will hear will be Mr. John Carter. Thank you.
Check 1, 2. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. We're the Alpha Ensemble. We're going to come to you with a selection before our speaker, and this is a song. It's actually a series of songs. We're going to take you back. We're going to take you down memory lane. Those of us who have been in the church growing up, especially in the black church, we're going to take you to devotion time, if that's all right.
When things got hard on us, couldn't see our way, didn't know what was going on. You hear both fathers would say, Jesus is on the main line. Tell him what you want. Oh, Jesus is on the main line. You want to tell him what you want. I said my Jesus is on the main line. You want to tell him what you want. You ought to call him up and tell him what you want. I said my Jesus is on the main line. You ought to tell him what you want. Oh, Jesus is on the main line. You ought to tell him what you want. Well, Jesus is on the main line. You ought to tell him what you want. You ought to call him up and tell him what you want.
Good, Brother Smith. But you know I like these old Jubilee songs. One that you have to get personal with. One that you have to put your signature to. Come on, brothers, help me out. Sign me up. Oh, Lord. Write my name. Oh, Lord. I've been changed. Oh, I wanna be. Say that one more time. Sign me up. Oh, Lord. Write my name. On the road. I've been changed. Oh, Lord. Oh, I wanna be ready. 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 Ready, 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 ready. Get your house in order. Ready, ready. Ready, 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 ready. Oh, said ready, 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 ready. I wanna be ready,
Good morning. I believe those good brothers will do another round of applause. It is with humble spirits and heart that I come, greeting you first in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. We do reverence him in all that we do. I believe he's the source of our strength. I want to first start out by thanking the Kappa Nu Lambda chapter for inviting me, specifically Dr. Ship. Thank you so much for your hospitality while being here. Also appreciate the hospitality and love from Alabama's District Director, Brother Larry Softly. Alabama is, I believe, in good leadership under these great young men. Amen? It's okay to applaud your leadership.
You know, that's the second time y'all didn't applaud, Brother Son. I do thank also traveling with me today, my wonderful family, my wife and my 2 kids sitting at table 26. Wave y'all hands. And also at table 73, another young lady all the way from Beaumont, Mississippi, who now lives in Huntsville, Dr. Albany Bolton. Wave your hand. That's my cousin. And both of us come out of, and my wife as well. We come from very small rural towns in Mississippi, and we prove to the young people there every time that we go back home to visit that the state, the South, has options for you. And we are products of that humble beginning. I've enjoyed myself thus far, and I am excited to give you some inspirational words that I believe will help plummet us throughout the year to hold up the light as well as the dream and vision of Dr. King. I want to talk about this morning the power of us. If, of course, you already read the bio and you know I am a preacher, and my goal is not to preach to you today, but to offer you some hope and some inspiration. But there is no way we can celebrate the life of Dr. King without adding the gospel of Jesus Christ. Matter of fact, Alpha brothers and the rest of our people that gather here today, no matter what organization you're in, there is no way we can talk about the civil rights movement if we do not include where it all began. And it began in the church. It began with a group of people who first knew where the source of their strength was, and that it lied in the hope and the salvation of Jesus Christ. So if we're going to celebrate his life, we've got to do it through the life that he lived, through the lens that he looked through, and that was hope in something greater than what we are. Because change will not come based on who we are, how many degrees we have, how many positions we've had, how many places we've gone, or the ways we've led, but man cannot change one individual man. Man can only live through the gospel of Jesus Christ to influence the life of other people and allow him and his spirit to change them. Galatians 6 and 9, if you need something to tag this along to, since y'all done already had church in here in some way, Galatians 6 and 9 says, and let us, somebody say us. He said, let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season ye shall reap if ye faint not. And that's why I want to talk about the power of us, is because we can't faint. We can't quit. There's a generation of people who are following behind us, who are looking at us, and if we throw in the towel now, and if we faint now, we'll lose the hope and the promise that ancestors have worked for all life long. Life's most frustrating moments are when we seem to be moving and not making progress. And those are the moments where we've got a lot of motion, but we don't have enough momentum. What do you mean, preacher? How can I not have enough momentum? And it's possible for us to do all of this stuff that we do here on the earth. We have prayer breakfasts, we have meetings every first Saturday of the month. We go to this place, we go to that place, but yet we're still doing nothing. There's nothing static about our Creator. There's nothing stagnant about our Creator. There's never been anything stationary about God's people, so therefore we should always be moving, growing, and living. And I want to give a strong, simple, yet profound message to the people that are here today, is that don't live your life so busy that you fail to make progress. And the Bible warns us of busybodies, is that people who are always doing something but never producing anything. It's possible for us to stay busy. You ever met folk and they always busy? and they always tired, and they always wore out, but yet doesn't have a track record of good stuff that they've accomplished. But we're always tired. I need rest, I need sleep, I need to go, I need a vacation, but yet we haven't worked. Have we fulfilled the missions and the goals that we've set forth every day of our lives? Not moving isn't a personal choice. If you're sitting in here today and you're not making progress in your life, it's not just a personal issue. This is something that's going to affect everything connected to you. When you realize that the longer I stay still and the longer I sit and I do nothing and I say nothing and I go nowhere and I don't be a catalyst for change, is the moment that it affects everybody connected to me. And the fright gets real, so real, when our not moving tempts us to give up. And that's when we walk away. That's when we throw in the towel. That's when we even declare ourselves as losers. MLK, Martin Luther King, Dr. King stated so eloquently in many of his quotes, that is that all of us have something to do. That is, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. And if you can't walk, then crawl. But by all means, keep moving. Do you hear me? Keep moving. Look at somebody next to you and tell them, keep moving. Y'all know I'm a Baptist preacher. You gotta look at somebody. The moment of truth and growth lies in the decision that you make right at the brink of you giving up. You know how strong you are when you have an option to give up, but yet you get a second wind that gives you the strength you need to move farther than where you presently were. That's why Paul says in Galatians 6 and 9, at this point, Paul is tired, the church is tired, the people are tired, and I believe we're at a tired place right now, even in our country. Folk are just tired. Either they're tired of all the negativity or they're just tired of listening to all the negativity. Either way it goes, a lot of us are just tired of a whole lot. You're either the one complaining or you're the one tired of hearing folk complain. But Paul simply says, let us. He includes all of us. Let us, those of us that are trying. I know there are some forces that work amongst us and against us that are trying to get us to stop. But he said, those of us that decided to do right, let us not be weary in the way of doing. Yes, sir. For he says, in due season ye shall reap if you faint not. We'd accomplish great things if we learn how to work together. Unity should produce strength and effectiveness. There's no need for us to work together and we're only strong. Only strong is not going to get you where you need to go. You need to also work together to get strength, also to be effective to do the work God has called us to do. That's why Dr. King says we must learn to live and work together as brothers, or we'll together perish as fools. We decide that we're going to fight each other for another year. If we decide that we're going to fight against each other for another year, for another term, or for whatever the season might be, then together we'll die and we'll perish as fools. But how do I, Brother Carter, how do I get to this point of next level status in our society? You have a choice to overcome your past circumstances, or you're going to allow them to overcome you. You're going to allow them to overtake you. You have a choice right now to say everything that happened to me years ago, everything that happened to me yesterday, everything that happened to me in the last season, either I'm going to learn from that or I'm going to grow from that. To move to the next level is going to require some denial of familiarity. And we get accustomed to doing the same thing over and over and over again, and yet we don't see any change because we've stuck to the same routine, the same practice. We're trying to love the same way. We're trying to gain a community. We're trying to get young people to come to a positive side of life using the same thing that people used 50 years ago. Y'all ain't praying with me. We're trying to get young women to understand how to live a respectful life, and young men how to live a respectful life. Yet we are still operating on old level stuff. And because God changes, because God doesn't change, but yet the world changes. And we don't change with the world, but we have to, in return, adapt to how God is going to teach us how to reach the people that we love the most. Denial will stop the reality of your social life. When we live in denial, it'll stop the reality of our physical life, our mental life, our witness. And you got to accept where you are, and where you are has nothing to do with where you used to be in good times. As a historian and as a history major, I'm not going to give you a history lesson, but as a historian, one of the things that is very controversial that I've told a lot of people, and that is, a lot of people say, oh, we just love the good old days. Oh, don't y'all miss the good old days? Everybody here loves the good old days. But what happens is that sometimes I believe we're wrong when we want to live in the good old days. Why do you say that, preacher? It's because if it was good then, and I'm bad now, if I go back in history with my bad self, then there'll no longer be the good old days. They were good old days for a reason. And if days were good then, all we have to do is some kind of way find the recipe that was used then to make the present days present good days. Why do we have to settle with just memories of the good old days and not live these days as if they were good anyhow? We'll never get to our promised place of hope without unity. And we cannot live perpetrating and pretending that we have it all together. This generation now seeks transparency. The Bible actually says we're overcome by the words of our testimonies. There's a lot of people around us, a lot of people connected to us, that would be so much better if you told them your story. One reason why we don't want to tell our story is because we haven't been delivered from the past of our stories. It's easy for me to help somebody with what I used to go through when I've been delivered from what I used to do. It's hard to witness, it's hard to testify, it's hard to bring in folk when you haven't gotten over what you used to do. Y'all ain't praying with me. Is that our generation desires transparency. They want to know that there's somebody that's dealt with the same thing I've dealt with, but yet they got through it. They want to know there's somebody who's been treated the way I've been treated, but yet they are a testimony of I made it through it. They want to know that there's somebody that's been addicted to something, that's been misused and abused, but yet they made it through some of the worst times of their life. What the world will not get any better if we don't begin telling our story. The only reason why now we celebrate Dr. King and we celebrate other civil rights leaders and other notable Americans and specifically African Americans in our community is because they were brave enough to tell the story. How many of you out there are sitting on stories that you just need to open your mouth and tell? Books you need to write, journals you need to publish, and somebody could be helped if you only opened your mouth and told them what you've been through. Look at somebody and tell them, tell your story. I like it. Yeah, it's 2020 and we've accomplished much locally, regionally, nationally, but is this enough? Is it enough? Is it enough to have prayer breakfast after prayer breakfast? Is it enough to have event after event? If it's enough to have meeting after meeting, have we literally done enough? And have we said that the unity that we've created, even in our gathering here today, is enough to bring about a catalyst of change in our society? I like how Paul says in Philippians 3:13-14, he says, "Brethren, I count myself not to have apprehended, but this one thing I do," and he says that I'm forgetting those things which are behind, and I press forward, I reach forth unto those things which are before. I press toward the mark of a higher calling. There should be a point in all of our lives to where we're pressing toward a higher mark. If you are on the same spiritual mental level that you were on last year, then you've made no growth. Do you hear what I'm saying? If you made no progress, if you reached one person last year and now you still witnessing and testifying to that one person, then you made no growth. There has to be someone that you're taking under your wings to become a better person each and every day in your life. Am I doing all right today? An impact, I'm almost finished. An impact must be made where you are now before you can move anywhere else. You must make an impact on this level before you make an impact anywhere else. If you're ineffective at this level, then you can't be trusted with next level responsibility. If you're ineffective as a follower, then there's no way you can be effective as a leader. Do you hear what I'm saying? You must find relevance. I'm going to say something powerful, and I hope I get at least some head nods. But I don't care if you're an Alpha, Kappa, Sigma, Omega, Iota, AKA, Zeta, Delta, Sigma, Gamma, Rho. I don't care if you're white, you're black. I don't care if you're male or you're female. But listen at this. If you're only relevant in the organization you belong to, then your life isn't relevant. You've got to be somebody outside of Alpha. You got to, if folk only know you by what you belong to and not by what you do, then your life isn't well lived. You need to be a man before you become something else. You need to be a woman before you become something else. In other words, I'm saying that you ought to be changed without anything connected to your name. They don't call you doctor, they don't call you master, they don't call you Mr. or Mrs. All they can call you is servant. At the end of every aspect of your life only has a legacy if you leave one behind. And it's sad that when we die, people have to make up stuff to say about us and what we did. But while we're living, folk ought to be able to, even in our death, they don't celebrate just what we were a part of, but they have a list of changes we made in society. Y'all ain't praying with me in here. Here it is. If you're going to be effective at one level, before you can move and you can graduate, you got to master the demons on one level. There's some stuff you got to get rid of, some people that you got to help change. There's some catalysts and some movements that you got to break up and you got to start if change is going to start anywhere in your community. You appreciate the thing that you only appreciate stuff you had to work your faith for, not just stuff you had to work for. Because faith has a way of not only just breaking us down, but faith has a way of building us up. And when you have used your faith to work and do the works of the King and the Master that sent us, that proves to you that you're on the right road now. But what's the next level for us? Preacher, I hear you talking, brother. I hear you saying all this stuff about how we need to change and we need to get involved. But where are we going when we get there? The next level, going higher, a new level, a new influence, larger territory requires work. All right. It's as simple as that. If you want to bring about some change in your society, it requires some work. It requires a whole lot of work. To say you want a new level, you must be willing to pay the cost that gets you closer to destiny. And where you are now, where you are right now, has a whole lot to do with where you're destined to be. Your life ought to line up with where you're destined to be. There should be, at this point, some stuff that you're noticing in your life that's helping elevate you to the next point of your destiny. The greatest days of our lives, you've heard it said often before, is when we're born and when we discover why we're born. The moment that you tap into, this is what I was created for. This is why God chose me to live and not die, because I was created for this specific moment. And you'll know when you found your calling. Young people, you'll know when you found what you're really supposed to be doing in Christ, in the kingdom, you're in the earth. You'll really know when you found what your calling is. Until then, you won't be able to explain it. And what God has predestined you to do requires no validation, no justification, no approval, from anybody else on this earth. The next level is all about people. If you hate people, you hate God. How can you say you love me and you don't even speak? You can't even love your brother that you see every day. It's going to be hard to hold a conversation with someone who hates people, because to hate people means you don't really want to invest in this work. You really can't even go around not liking people, because if you not like a person for so long, it leaves your heart to hate them after so long. There's a lot of folk that started out not liking stuff and then end up hating it over a long period of time. How you serve people in spite of what you don't like about them. I'm gonna say that again. You've got to serve people in spite of what you don't like about them. They're white, serve them and love them. They're black, serve them and love them. He's a homosexual. Love him and serve him. Y'all ain't praying with me. She's a lesbian. Love her. Serve her. We're talking about unity, right? We're talking about God. There's no way that, oh, she's an ex-lady of the night. Love her. Serve her. He's very promiscuous. Love him. Serve him. He's a gangster. Love him. Serve him. You got to learn to love and serve people in spite of what you don't like about them. MLK, Dr. King says everybody can be great because anybody can serve. And you don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and your verb agree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love. To say you love people is to invest in people, even at their worst moments. How do I get to this next level? Three things that are going to separate, three things separating us from the glimpse or resonance of our next level is that first you got to have faith in the next level. Your mind must grow to conceive and expect greater beyond its present reality. Your mind has to see the world better than what it presently is. And we're living in a society where people have noticed everything that's messed up about Alabama, about Mississippi, about Georgia, about the South, about the United States of America, but nobody is mentioning the faith-based movement that it's going to take to change the world. Are y'all praying with me? Your mind must grow to receive and conceive something greater than reality. I'll bring it back to the Bible where Paul says in Hebrews 11, 1 and 3, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, for by it the elders obtained a good report. Through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God, so that the things which are seen were not made, which the things that do disappear. In this season of our lives is going to require 100% of our faith to trust our Creator. That's why Paul says our ancestors, he says our ancestors understood the benefits of a unified faith. They understood that together we achieve more, because it says by faith the elders received a good report. My mind goes back even to my grandfather who died at the age of 95, and how no matter how rough it got in that small rural town of Beaumont, Mississippi, he had faith that tomorrow was going to be a little bit better. And we're living in a society where if stuff is not right in our community, we must tackle it through a faith-based lens, and that is tomorrow is going to be better than yesterday and the day. You know why? Because I'm involved in it. And if you're involved in it, and if you're invested in it, anything you love, you're a catalyst to make it change. If you go on in that 6th verse of the 11th chapter, Paul says, but without faith, it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to God must believe that he is God, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. Not only must you have faith for this next level, but you got to have vision for this next level. As I look across this audience, there are some of you who are just like me. And that is that you look like if they take the glasses off our faces, we won't even be able to make it out this door. If you really want to get me down, take away my glasses, take away my contacts, and I promise you, I have to get on my knees and crawl to try to reach a glow of a green exit sign. But sight is not going to bring about change in this new level. It's not about how much you see, it's about how much vision you have. I think I heard one of the good brothers say earlier, that is, here the Bible says that my people, without a vision, the people will perish. And sight won't work where God is trying to take us. That's why Paul says in 2 Corinthians 5:7, for we walk by faith and not by sight. And I believe God to do more than the right now, but I believe him to step even into the realms of our future to work out what we need to work out. Dr. King stated so well that if you want to move people, it has to be toward a vision that's positive for them, that taps important values. Dr. King was speaking to us about our current generation then, now. That's why he says if you want to move people, it has to be toward a vision that's positive for them. For that group of people that you're trying to move, that taps into important values, that gets them something they desire, and it has to be presented in a compelling way so that they feel inspired to follow. People have to feel like they want to follow you. That's why you're a member of whatever you're a part of. That's why you're loyal to your Christian organization or to your church or whatever, because your preacher, your leader, your president makes you feel like following them. Folk don't follow stuff they don't feel. And if they are really faithful follow, they feel it in their heart to go on even when they can't. The last point I give you, that not only must you have faith for this next level, not only must you have vision for this next level, but you must also focus on the next level. The reason why you got to focus is because of what Habakkuk says in Habakkuk 4:3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. The vision that's been set before us, it's only going to last a little while, and someone else is going to come with another vision. Who's been the visionary after Dr. King? Who was the dreamer after Dr. King? Who's going to lead a chapter after Dr. Shepherd and create a new vision? Who's going to lead the district after Brother Softly and create powerful change? Who's going to take your place and focus on a new vision? Because visions get old. According to Habakkuk, they only last for a while. Understand that the enemy is still out for us. He's not just after our stuff. The enemy cares nothing about the car you drive. He cares nothing about how much money you raise today. He cares nothing about how many billions of dollars you have in your bank. The enemy cares nothing about your clout and your status in this community. The enemy is after your vision. The enemy understands that if they have vision, they'll grow. And if we can take away their vision, it'll keep them stagnant. Every blessing that comes your way, the devil is coming with a burden. Every praise, he's coming to bring you some pity. Every miracle that you experience, he's coming to spread some misery. And our time cannot be spent fighting what we know hates us. I can deal with folk who I know don't like me. It's the folk that's around me every day that I'm not sure of, that I'm aware of. That's why you better check your circle. Look at somebody and tell them, check your circle. You fighting folk who you know don't like you. That's already won. Let's just stay out of each other's way. But it's the folk that are iffy. It's the people that in hard times, they're nowhere to be found. It's the brothers and the sisters that walk with me and talk with me and meet with me and plan with me and strategize with me. Dr. King's adversary wasn't really folk that was not around him. It were folk that were right there on the inside of his life. that while you have a vision, there's somebody else that has another vision that may not line up with yours. That's why he told them, write the vision, make it plain, so that they may run with it, and so that they won't faint. Our time can't be fighting those that we know hate us, but loving on what we know hates right. Again, I say love on what we know hates right. Love on what we know hates justice and hope and love. And in my final remarks, Dr. King says, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Or if you were in Hernando, Mississippi, we're in this quite celebratory. We're in it with a little organ music, with a little cymbals and hi-hats, and we may even do a little 1, 2, 3 step. But none of that will matter if we never do it together. There's power in us. Change our perspective. Together, let's look through a new lens of hope. Let's look through a new lens of help to help people right now. If we all looked at our lives, if we looked at our communities, we can think of some stuff that just ain't right. We can try calling for help. That's why I got to be careful who you call to help you out to fulfill the vision of changing our communities. Some folk, when they stop by to help you in what's considered to be a horrible situation, you got to be careful not to call on a subjective person. A subjective person will come along and say, I feel for you down there. An objective person will come along and say, it's logical that somebody would fall down there. A Christian scientist will come along and tell you, you only think that you're down right now. You need to get above your way of thinking. A Pharisee will come and tell you, only bad people fall that low and get down that low. A mathematician will come with a calculator and a ruler and pen and paper and begin to calculate how you actually got down there. A news reporter will come with a camera and a microphone, and a news reporter will tell you that they want an exclusive story of how y'all got down there. A fundamentalist will come and say, you know what? You deserve to be down there. Confucius would have come and said, if you would have listened, you would not be in that horrible pit. Buddha will come by and say, your pit is only a state in your mind. A realist will come along and tell you what you knew the whole time, and that is, they'll tell you you're in a pit. When you're down, you don't need folk to tell you you're down. You need folk that are going to do something different than a scientist, than a geologist. A geologist will come and tell you about the rocks in the pit, the stars in the pit, the signs in the pit. Oh, and there's a county inspector. For those of you who work in the government, there's a county inspector that will come by and ask you, did you even get a permit to dig that pit? There's a professor, somebody who's been teaching at the college for a long time. They're tenured and everybody respects them. They'll come around and give you a lecture on the principles of a pit. There's an evasive person that will avoid the subject of the pit altogether and start talking about their problems. Isn't it sad that when you're down and when the world is down, people meet you talking about everything they going through? A self-pitying person will come by and say, that ain't nothing. Look at my pit. A charismatic person will come by and say, just confess. Like Job's friend, just say you did wrong. You're in a pit because you did it. But an optimist will stop by a pit and say, things could be worse. A pessimist will come by a pit and say things will get worse. Oh, but there are some men called Alpha men that will stop by a pit. Seeing a man down, they'll do one thing. They'll forget about the colors of their shield and the colors of their coat. They'll forget about their motto, their creed, and they'll forget about all the works that they've done, but they'll take one hand, put it down in the pit, grab the other man's hand, pick him up out of the pit, bring him back up to life, dust him off, give him something that he needs to survive, and let him know that we're in it all together. There is someone who's beyond an alpha man, who may be just simply a servant that says, I don't need credit for getting you out of this pit. All I need you now is to find another pit and to reach somebody else. If you really want to help somebody, stop looking down on them and reach down for them. Dr. King, my last words to you says life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? My last turn and talk for you today, look at your neighbor. Y'all thought I was gonna hoop this thing out. I can do it. Look at your neighbor and ask them, say, neighbor, what are you doing for other people? God bless you. May he keep you. There's power in us.
This time I'd like to ask Brother Wesley Thompson and Brother Larry Softly if they can come to the podium or down here just below the dais here to help present the awards. I realize the time and the hour. We're going to try to do this, but we want to do justice to the people that we want to award. I want to start, of course, by again saying, wow, the power of John Carter. Good job. Good job. I had somebody I sold a ticket to last week. They said, you better bring it. I'm going to pay $25. And I think you brought it, so I'm very proud of that. Yeah, I'm looking at that person right. But at any rate, thank you. I had another person that texted me this morning and asked me, Rod, why ain't you singing? You just don't know. Everybody got a gift, and you got to know what your gift is. That's not mine. At any rate, what my job is today is to be able to give the awards that we're about to give. Each one of the awards that we're about to give goes to an individual, a business, or a group that is doing something special in the local community. When we had our meeting back in late December to choose who it was that we were going to award this year, something special came out of that meeting in terms of the group that we're going to be giving something to. I will tell you this, in doing some research, trying to find out a little bit about some of these people, sometimes what I realize is I don't know who I'm walking with and who I'm associating with sometimes in terms of some of the things that have been done in this community for other people, including myself. The first award today is going to go to a business. The business that we're going to give our first award to is not a business that I'm in a hurry to go see anytime soon. I just want to go ahead and tell you. But it is a business that provides a great service for this community. I think the very first award that I can remember giving went to a business of this type. And I remember giving that award, and I remember Ernest Smith saying something about, one day I'll put a smile on your face, boy. But at any rate, dealing with that, I don't know why he told me that. Every time I see him, I think of that. But at any rate, the business that we want to award goes to a business that is somewhat new in our community, less than 15 years that they've been in service in terms of what it is that they're doing. But the service that they provide to individuals when they are in need comes straight from the heart without any doubt in terms of what they do. The lady that is the direct owner of the facility can be seen in the community providing community service. She is a very devoted mother to two beautiful young men, and she does a great service in Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And what we wrote right here is many of you met the work that she does with grace and dignity. And the name of her business is Grace Memorial Funeral Home. So this time we could get Miss Melissa Mays to please come forth and accept this small token to recognize the good work that she's doing in this community with Grace Memorial Funeral Home. Education is something that's very near and dear to my heart. I went to school at Wilson High School. graduated from Wilson and didn't know exactly what it was that I was going to do. One day my guidance counselor called me into the office and she said, Rod, if you'll fill this out, we'll figure out how to get you a scholarship to go to school. Being where I'm from, I didn't know I was going to pay for school, so that sounded great to me. And so she had me fill out the paperwork, and I ended up attending a college at that time that was known as Shoals Community College. Some of you may not know about the history of Shoals Community College, and I'm not going to give you the entire history, but Shoals Community College can boast the fact of saying that it is the oldest junior college in the state of Alabama. That fact becomes relevant because back in 1963, Northwest Community College became the first junior college. And in 1966, what we know as Muscle Shoals chapter of the Shoals Community College was formed. In 1993, Northwest and Shoals Community College merged to form Northwest Shoals Community College. Northwest Shoals Community College is a very important part of our Shoals community. They provide training to individuals that can give them the skill set to be able to go get jobs out in factories. They also provide academic scholarships to individuals through the Scholar Dollar program. In addition to that, Northwest Shoals provides a good, solid foundation for individuals to be able to get their 2-year degree prior to going on to attain their 4-year degree. Northwest Shoals has a number of partnerships with businesses and schools in this community, and is definitely an organization that's making a difference in our community. So at this time, I'm going to ask President of Northwest Shoals, Dr. Collier-Ross, to please come forth and accept the award for Northwest Shoals Community College. This was not planned, but again, you know, you can get your 2-year degree in Northwest Shoals, but you need your other 2 years to finish it all out. The next organization that we're going to honor gave me my next 2 years, and my master's degree and my specialist degree, and continues to bless me in relationship to what occurs in my life. The University of North Alabama, some of you might know very well the beautiful campus that it is, can boast itself as being the oldest 4-year public college institution in the state of Alabama, tracing its roots back to LaGrange College in and around 1830. This college also has lots of partnerships in the Shoals area, dual enrollment, opportunity. The economic impact of the University of North Alabama in the Shoals area is impeccable. I mean, from the people that work there, that move into this area, that work at the university, to the people that they produce and the jobs that they are able to go out and get and create. The college was largely known as an institution for preparing teachers, but later it's become known with the university of preparing nurses, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, preparing nurses, preparing business people, and people to go out and take on the world. And at this time, I'm going to ask Dr. Ken Kitts, the 20th president of the University of North Alabama, to please come forth and accept an award on behalf of the University of North Alabama for Alpha Phi Alpha. The next award will go to an individual. I know we're in Florence. Right down the road, somewhere around 15, 20 minutes, is a place called Lawrence County that many of us are familiar with. In the name Lawrence County, in the city of Lawrence County, in the town of Lawrence County, or the county of Lawrence County, you know an individual, there's a name that kind of rings out. If you were to mention the name Good in Lawrence County, or the name Good in the state of Alabama, people would know that name. They would know that name because of some athletes that came out of there that went on to play at Alabama and went on to the NFL and different things. But they would also know that name because of a man by the name of Aaron Good, who was raised and reared there and went on to Alabama State University and got his degree. He is an educator from Lawrence County. He was a coach in Lawrence County, a mentor in Lawrence County. He is an individual, a city councilman in Lawrence County. He's done a lot of things in relationship to his town and in his community. This individual served on the first state football championship at Hazelwood High School. which to me is relevant because if, you know, Hazelwood, I think has more, I don't know this to be the truth, but I think based on when I was coming up, they're the ones that won the state championship like every year. Some of you know what I'm talking about. Nobody, I don't even think Alabama wanted to play Hazelwood back in the day because they were pretty good. I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you. But at any rate, he went on to win 11 state championships as a football coach at Hazelwood High School and a combined 26 state championships in relationship to girls and boys track under his tutelage while he was a coach there. For that reason, this year, he is going to be honored by the Alabama High School Athletic Hall of Fame by being inducted into that Hall of Fame. But we wanted to give him some flowers as well for the great impact that he's had on the number of youth that he has touched and continues to touch in relationship to what it is he does. So at this time, I'd like to ask Brother Aaron Good to please come forth and accept the individual award from Alpha Phi. As principal of Florence Freshman Center and now Florence High School, we always try to bring individuals into the school that can speak to our kids, try to give them a positive word to be able to help them. A former assistant principal at Florence Freshman Center said, you need to call Dwayne Malone. I went to school with him. You'd be surprised by what he can do. So we have our FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes meeting, and we called him and he came in and wow, I have not lost contact with that individual. This was something about 5 years ago. He is involved in an organization that he had a vision to found. He had this vision to found, some of y'all know what PKs are, you know, preachers' kids, you know, they're not necessarily the greatest of individuals in the world necessarily. Well, this PK right here got himself in some trouble and made a deal with God and said that, God, if you get me out of this, I'm gonna help people. And I'm gonna tell you what, some people say that once they get out of it, they go about their merry way. This individual right here he is dedicated and passionate about trying to make a difference in individuals' lives. He has an organization that he's founded, a nonprofit organization. They're called the Rescue Me Project. And the Rescue Me Project, the Rescue Me organization, what they do is they try to mentor young people and try to get them on the right way and try to develop them with the social skills, the soft skills needed to be successful in life. He goes from school to school. If you'll let him come in, he'll bless your soul in relationship to what he can do with your kids. Last summer at the Leadership Development Workshop that Alpha Phi Alpha puts on in partnership with the University of North Alabama, he came in and he spoke and he brought in these big old bricks and put on his back. And he gave this big speech to these kids that I think just blessed their soul for being able to hear and see that. But this time what I want to ask you is Dwayne Malone to please come forward and accept the Community Service Award for his Rescue Me Project and the vision and what he's doing in the Shoals community. Once upon a time, we had a brother that would be sitting back there in the back. I'll never forget him. He had one of those old school camcorders that had A-Phi letters typed up, put on there. But he was an individual that was very powerful in the community as well. He is the last principal of Trentham High School and went on to become the first principal, African-American principal at Deschler High School, an individual who I grew to admire, that was a mentor to me and to a lot of individuals in this community as well as in this fraternity in terms of what he stood for. His name was Fred Johnson. Several years ago, we decided that we were going to create an Educators Award and give an Educators Award out at our event, and we would name it the Fred Johnson Educators Award. This year, we're going to give this award to 5 individuals. Our goal initially was to go back in time and to recruit and get individuals who taught in the schools such as Burroughs Slater or Trentham or some of those traditional black schools and be able to award those people and give them their flowers before they passed on for the great impact of what it was that they did for the students that they served. This year, it took on somewhat of a different twist, and we're going to honor 5 ladies. We did not know we were going to honor 5 ladies when this started out. That was not the goal, but how awesome it turned out, because these individuals are pioneers in terms of what it is that they've done in their lives and in their careers in the community and the lives that they've touched. Our first individual, if I had one word to describe her, I'd say it would have to be driven. This lady refuses to accept no for an answer. I remember when we were at the University of North Alabama working on our master's degrees, they said, you have to be you've got to have been a classroom teacher to be able to get a master's degree in administration. She said, I'm getting one. And so she figured out a way, and she got one, let me go ahead and tell you. And from that time on, that's the first memory I have of her. This lady goes on, and whatever it is that she gets in her mind, she's going to see it to the end. Several years ago, in around 2015, I think she announced that she was going to run for superintendent of Colbert County. I was like, really? Okay, you know what color you are, right? But anyway, there was a couple of thoughts that crossed my mind, but she said, that's what I'm going to do. And by God, guess what she did? She ran for superintendent of Colbert County, she won the election, and she has been burning it up ever since she's been in office. The things that she's done, she has revolutionized Colbert County. She's got goals, she's got themes. This one thing I saw the other day, it says, one team, one goal, our legacy. And when she leaves that office, and we hope it's no time soon, okay, because the good work she's doing needs to continue in Colbert County. But at any rate, at this time I'd like to ask Dr. Gail Satchel to please come forth and accept a Fred Johnson Educator Award for her leadership and her devotion to the students of Colbert County School System. So as I told y'all, I went to school at Wilson, and I was one of a kind out there in more ways than one. But also the people who touched me in relationship to educating me were of one persuasion. So when I went to Northwest Shoals, I had Mr. Eubanks, who's the first African American that ever stood in front of me in the capacity of teaching me in my life. Well, I guess Mr. Tony Latham every time I go in Lowe's or every time I go past him, I think of him as well because he was a substitute at Wilson one day, and I was like, are you in the right place? But at any rate, when I got to UNA, there were some individuals that were there that reached out and touched me. Let me just go ahead and tell you. And the next four ladies that we're going to honor are four ladies that reached out and touched me and numbers of other students while they were at the University of North Alabama. The first lady that we're going to honor is taught me, she was teaching me how to speak, is what she taught me, and how to enunciate in relationship to the class. She taught a class called Reading in the Content Area in relationship to me being able to get my degree in education. This was a lady, when you stepped in her class, you knew she didn't play. The other thing about stepping in her class is you did not want to disappoint her because she set the bar so high. I remember one day she would always write out the grade that we got. And I got the grade one day and I looked down at it and it was not a grade that I was proud of. I walked all the way across the campus and I was like, I let it down. Oh my lands. And then when I got there, I looked and the name was not Shepherd. It was another name with a C. So I ran back to her office and I handed it back to her and I got an A and I was proud. Let me just go ahead and tell you. I'll never forget that. But this lady is a lady that is very active in our community. She's very active in her sorority, Delta Sigma Theta sorority. She was very active on campus as the mentor and the leader of those young ladies who were pledged Delta Sigma Theta at the University of North Alabama, as I well remember. She also was very active in various other organizations. She volunteers, and she's retired, and she probably works more now than she ever did. And if you go out anywhere, you might see her dancing in Alpha, not in Alpha, but in African getup. You never know where you're going to see Dr. Felice Green. So at this time, I'd like to bring her forth and let her receive an award. Groundbreaker, trailblazer at the University of North Alabama in relationship to what she did in terms of her time. 30 years of service at the university she had. The next individual, also a retired professor from the University of North Alabama, spent 36 years at the University of North Alabama. I never had her for a class, but I'll tell you, she would call you to the side, and if she saw something, she'd tell you about it. And, you know, she always expected you to walk a certain way, to carry yourself a certain way, to be a certain way. And anything less than the best was not something that she wanted to tolerate out of the students that she saw, especially us young black students who were up there at the University of North Alabama. And we were not very many at that time at the university. She came to the university in 1980. She worked in the nursing department and had a vision to always want to help, so much so that she was calling me the other day just asking me how she could mentor some students at Florence High School. It's probably one of the best known things that she did prior to her retirement at the University of North Alabama is to help found what is known as the Presidential Mentors Academy. This is an organization that kind of gives scholarships to underprivileged minority students who might not have been able to make it to college, but it gives them a scholarship to come. And once they get there, it poses them with mentors that will be able to help them academically and to develop the leadership skills to be successful and to be able to stay there. She had a vision. She was passionate about what she wanted to do in terms of helping young students while they were at the university and even helping students to be able to get to the university. She's not able to be with us this morning, but she did ask a representative to come forth and accept her award. And this is a representative that when I called her, she was like, oh yeah, she's been a mentor to me. At this time, I'm going to ask Dr. Joy Bora, the Senior Vice Provost for Academic Affairs, to please come accept the award for Dr. Ernestine Davis. Ever since I've been in this fraternity, I've known this lady, but I didn't really know her. And what I mean by that is this, you know, I've seen her right by her husband's side, seated beside him, because he's been our chaplain forever. He is the chaplain emeritus for the Kappa Nu Lambda chapter. But what I didn't know is her background. I used to see her at UNA. She used to always have positive words of encouragement when I would see her, and I was like, oh, that's his wife, and she works here. I didn't know what she did. But what I ended up learning is that in 1973, she received a call to the University of North Alabama. And that call that she received to the University of North Alabama was a call that basically helped start the nursing program at the University of North Alabama. This individual was born in Tuscumbia, and when she was 6 years old, she used to play nurse, and she wanted to be a nurse when she grew up. And she grew up and became that nurse after going to Tuskegee Institute. That travel at Tuskegee Institute would take her all the way to New York and all the way to Chicago, where at a time that it wasn't necessarily popular, she became a lead nurse in Chicago at Mount Sinai Hospital, which is a hospital that many of you have probably heard of. She came back to Tuscumbia and held the same position at what is now called Helen Keller Hospital, but used to be, I didn't know this, called Colbert County Hospital. This individual, she went to University of North Alabama. She started the nursing program and kind of helped build the nursing program and worked there for 38 years. At the end of 38 years, she didn't think that that was enough, so she worked another year and donated a year of service to be able to endow scholarships for future individuals who wanted to become nurses. And I'm not the greatest mathematician, and I would never profess to be, but if I understood correctly in terms of what I was doing with research, she has 3 scholarships that she has helped to endow, each in the sum total of about $25,000 that help benefit young people that want to go to the University of Majoring Nursing. At this time, I want to make sure that we do the due honor to Dr. Alice Doss Brown and represent her and give her a great round of education. I never had the honor and privilege of sitting in this lady's class, but I will tell you, I sat in her office several times. And I sat in her office because she would mentor me, and she would help me. She would give me words of encouragement. I guess it was about 2015, I got a call from Columbia University. They were looking for somebody to serve as a principal mentor. I was like, Columbia University, called Rod Shepard, that don't even sound right. And so at any rate, I interviewed for a job with them and did some work with them. And I was like, how would y'all find Rod Shepard? Well, Dr. Miner suggested. I was like, wow, wow. And so at any rate, I was thinking to myself, that was quite awesome because it looks good on the resume, Dr. Shaw. But at any rate, dealing with that, that's my boss. And so at any rate, Dr. Lisa Graves Miner was an English professor at the University of North Alabama coming in and around 1988. And the one thing that I can tell you that everybody on campus always said about her classes was she expects nothing but the best in relationship to who you are. If you can't write when you get there, you will when you leave. And she was a groundbreaker because I'm going to tell you, in the building where her department was, I didn't see very many people of diversity in there. There was not much color. So she was a trailblazer in relationship to her coming to the university at that time and being at the university at that time. And of course, doing what it was that she did. All of these ladies were, oh my God. I mean, to me, this is a very august group to be able to honor here at this occasion that we have right here. And I don't even think I can do justice to the things that they did while they were there, and the lives that they touched, and what it is that they did. But Dr. Graves, of course, she would downplay and say that, I probably don't deserve no award. Yes, you do, because of the people that you touched, the things that you did, the support. We were in organizations on campus, and if we did something, we were having something, and she knew about it, she was right there. If we were trying to fundraise, she wrote a check or gave a little piece of cash. She was always supporting us at the university while we were there, and that support didn't just stop at the university with Dr. Miner. It did not just stop at the university with any of these ladies, but it definitely did not. She is right here now supporting us in terms of the things that we do and the things that we're trying to do in the community, and we're very appreciative to it. And I want to make sure that you understand that you've touched lives and you made a difference, and we appreciate you, and we want to honor you in relationship to giving you the Fred Johnson's Educator Award today. Well, I got one more award that's not on the program that I need to give today. Back in 1985, there was this little boy from Carbon Heights Mountain that decided he was going to pledge Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. He pledged Alpha Phi Alpha, and he's been a dedicated member of Alpha Phi Alpha ever since 1985. In and around 2015, he had the audacity to think that he was going to run for district director of the state of Alabama. He ran and was elected in a landslide. He has made a difference. He's been president of Kappa Nu Lambda probably half of the years that Kappa Nu Lambda has been in existence, in all honesty, in terms of that, because if nobody else will be president, just put Larry up there. He'll do it. And so he's been a dedicated employee at TVA, a dedicated husband, father in relationship to his family, and a dedicated individual to Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. Our area director decided back in September that every chapter in our area was going to give an award to the district director before he left office, and we were supposed to have given it in October, and it didn't come in. So, I'm just playing. But anyway, everybody's supposed to give an award, and I thought it would be a good opportunity to be able to do this today in front of this audience here. The award that we're going to give him is an award of significance, because it's something that every brother should be able to get when they reach 25 years of service in the fraternity. And what it is this 25-year shingle, which basically is a certificate signed by the national president of Alpha Phi Alpha, stating about your 25 years of service. And also there is what is called a 25-year pin for Alpha Phi Alpha. And so what we're going to present to him is something that he does not have, and I checked on it. I checked my list and checked it twice. He does not have it, and so we're going to present him with his 25-year pin and 25-year shingle here at this thing. And this comes from the brothers of Kappa Nu Lambda to our district director, Brother Larry Salter. Okay, now I've got announcements, and I know what time it is, and I apologize. And for those of you who had to move your cars, just like me, I'm sorry, but you know, and I apologize. Hopefully next year, if there's some construction going on, we'll have it properly marked, and you will know. The announcements are as follows. The Martin Luther King Committee's banquet will be held on February the 15th, 2020 at the UNA Galat Center at 6 p.m. The guest speaker will be Dr. Harry Blake of Shreveport, Louisiana. Tickets can be purchased from any member of the MLK Committee. Kappa Alpha Psi will be hosting their 3rd annual Crimson and Cream Soiree and concert to be hosted by the Florence Alumni Chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi. This event will take place on February the 22nd, 2020. Tickets can be purchased from any local member of Kappa Alpha Psi. The band Jukebox will be there, and they will, of course, be providing good entertainment and good service. The UNA Diversity and Institutional Equity Committee will be celebrating Black History with a speaker series. Writer Kais Leon will be here on Thursday, February the 6th at 6 p.m. in the Performance Center to perform for that event. Grief Share, a weekly support group beginning on January the 25th at Trinity Missionary Baptist Church. The workbook for this is $15. If you don't have the money for the $15, don't let that hinder you from coming to this. If you've experienced grief in the last little while, you can come to this event and they'll try to help you out. This is going to be sponsored and led up by Ms. Melissa Mays, Diane Westfield, John Williams, and the pastor is Reverend Trevor Crenshaw. Dream King event at Chapel Church, formerly known as Christ Chapel, will be on February the 2nd. There's an article in your program about that, and of course they're going to have an event during Black History Month. The Burroughs Slater Hall of Fame induction will be February the 7th. Tickets are available from Dave Smith or any family member of someone that's going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. You are invited to the Shoals Democrats meeting Monday at 6:30 at the IBEW 558 in Sheffield. Martin Luther King Committee will have their annual march today in Russellville at 11 o'clock, and there will be a van leaving at some point from Gaston Chapel a little bit after 10 to be able to transport individuals to that event. That's the extent of the announcements that I have to make at this time. I feel like I'm in church. That's the extent of the announcement that I have to make at this time. At this time, I want to say a couple of thank yous. I'd like to thank all of you for coming to our event. This event is not possible without you, so at this time, if you'll give yourselves a round of applause and thank you so much for being here. I'd also like to recognize our ushers, our Alpha Gents for the 2000. If y'all stand up, young men, we want to show those sweaters look good over there. Okay, yeah, show you all. Congratulate them and thank them, of course, for serving us this early this morning. Brothers, if you're a member of Alpha Phi Alpha, please come forth for a picture immediately following the Black National Anthem. And with that, I think we could... Oh, please enjoy the health fair out front. We have several tables that are set up. And I think that's the extent of what I need to say. Again, thank you all for being here. We'll stand and have a verse of a song. And at the end of that song, we can consider ourselves dismissed. Thank you again for being here.